Huh?
The surgery was today.
What happened with
Damit
the
wissen
Judah?
And he knows,
I didn't know what happened.
he had appendicitis.
I have appendicitis.
He's not. Yeah.
He's okay? So you went to
What is the
surgery
name?
today to remove it?
Yeah. We got to take it out. It's affected. Once it's affected, you got to sign.
How was the Shabbat Brachas?
Shabbat Shalom.
Was he here in the shul?
But Morozo don't have nobody from his family came beside his father-in-law is his father. But from the Chosn side, it's about 20 Bochum came.
They
were all
walked
here.
in?
And they were all here.
No, they stay here.
They stayed here?
And they were all
sure, like still by me, somebody.
And they were all in the shul by the KD 30th and just said this.
They came here for whole Shabbos to spend with him Shabbos?
One married guy came with him. One married.
Sharpen. Perfect.
He's related.
Right, he is also married.
רגע, כל השבוע, עושה פה איזה שעה בחוץ או הכל בטרנס?
He had 9 girls. After 9 girls, he had 2 boys. This is the first.
Who had? Oh, this.
So it's not like Ramorozov. Ramorozov is 9 girls. So I said you still have a issue.
But now he has 5 grandsons, 4 grandsons.
No, after 9 girls, he had 2 boys. He's 57-year-old.
He was 57.
אבא של החתן.
שהיה פה.
כן. בגיל 57 נולד לו הבן הראשון. שני תאומים. And the second one is married in business. עוני.
כל הבנים שלו פתח נישואים.
9 בנות נשואות. אני חושב. אולי אחת לא.
Don't give up. אבל במרוזות צריך ללמוד ממנו. Don't give up.
אמרו בגיל 50, הוא ב-57 נולד.
I was my little בת 7 born.
עכשיו הוא חיתן את הבן. אז כמה זה 57 עוד 20? קרוב ל-80.
שש בחור עושה...
ברוך השם. תגיד, הוא יעשה פה איזה שבע בחוץ? למה עשו?
בית הכנסת? היה... לא.
היה אצלו בבית.
anyway.
Okay, Rabbi say.
Age raise, Lamed?
What are we holding?
No.
We're holding.
Okay.
Maybe, I think we're holding Yud Beis, no? Reish Lamed Aleph, Yud Beis?
Yeah.
Page Reish Lamed Aleph. Reish Lamed Aleph, Sif Yud Beis. Kol mi shle Omar Birches Emes V'Yatziv. Shachris. K'moi shetiknuhu. Ve'emes ve'emuna arvis. Af api sheyatzi de Krias shabrachas eine ma'aktas is Krias. If he didn't say brachas, it's still yotze Krias. Afile amran klal. Lo yatza yidei chayvas hamitzvah kitikuna. Shenemer lahagid v'abayker chazdecha. Unascha balelis. O birchas emes yatzav kula hu al chesed she'asa im aviseinu shehitzia mimitzrayim o bakal hamayam eviram. It's all chesed. Lahagi v'abayker chazdecha. וברכס אמס המונה מדבר בו גם על הסידס שאנו מצפים שיקיים לנו הבטחוסי ומנסי לגוע עלינו מהמלוכים מהדריצים ולעשו נפשנו בחיים ולהדריכנו על במס אויבינו כל אלה הניסים התדירים תמיד. It's not only things that happened in the past, in the other. That's a munah. We have a munah that the Eibishter will do for us nisim. So that's lahagi v'bayker chazdecha is emes v'yatziv. V'amunascha v'leilis mention the munah, your munah in the Eibishter by night. That's emes v'munah.
This is why you always have to read in the Siddur. You will not forget to say after Shema.
Yeah.
So true.
V'seif bracha poizer l'geulas Mitzrayim lismech l'ga Yisrael shehu lashon avar. Ga Yisrael means not Goyal Yisrael. Ga Yisrael is lashon avar past tense, yes, referring to Tzias Mitzrayim, because we have to be soymech geula l'tefillah. So we put he mentioned Geulas Mitzrayim at the ending. There was in the nights of Yom Tif, there's a piyut called Maravis, which is said in certain Kehillas before Ma'ariv, in middle of in Yom Tif, we say Melech Tzur Yisrael v'Goyalei. V'Goyalei is not a past tense, it's not Lashon Avar. Ein limchis mipnei shaloshin zeh koilo gam kin Lashon Avar. Shaloshin Goyal koilo Avar hoive ve'asid. Kamay Maitzi Lechem in haaretz, and you say the Bach Maitzi Lechem in haaretz. Shekoilo gam Avar, that he Avar he was Maitzi Lechem, and now he's Maitzi Lechem.
And Moitzi's the Abba also.
So therefore, ein limches, because you can say a lashon that has also the mashmayis of Avar.
Which Kehilot say that? I never heard that.
Do you say the Maravit? There's a special piyut on Yom Tif. Certain Kehillos add in piyutim in Berchas Krias Shema. In the Machzorim over here.
It's not in Chabad.
Okay.
Not in Chabad, but
That's Friday meeting.
the art scroll has it.
Probably Ashkenazi.
Some Kehillos say it in the night of Yom Tif. They say special piyutim in the Berchas Krias Shema. So they don't Messiah Gal Yisrael, and there in that piyut, Maravit, it's the siyum as Melech Yisrael v'Gal Aloi. It doesn't mash, it's not Lashon Avar. It says, Ein limches, because it's koil ochel Lashon Avar. So, Lahaski, to say, Malchus, Krias Yamsuf, Makkes, Bechoides, B'Amsiyatzif. You have to mention, Yitzis Mitzrayim, Malchus, Krias Yamsuf, Makkes, Bechoides, Vim lo hiska achas mehen, lo yotze yidei chivasoi. Umachzin oise, you have to go back and say it again. Aber shara nosech, im shine oise, v'loi amar oise loshen abanusach acher, afilo dilik harbe, yotze. You skipped out a lot of those brachas, yotze.
What's Machzarim Moto? It's only if he's a Chazan.
No.
Everybody here. If somebody is
By himself, he doesn't mention it, you have to go back.
no Machzarim Moto, the people has to return him back.
If someone's listening
Doesn't say
next,
Choser.
someone's listening next to him, he gives him this. No, you're missing out. You're skipping.
Okay.
I hear what you're saying. V'shara nusach im shina oisei v'lo moisei loshen nusach acher. Harbe yatz v'chein v'nusach shakal brachas haruches. And in general, not only the Gabi Birchas Kishma, all brachas. There's some very long brachas. Even if you missed out large shtiklach of it, you still yaitza. That's not the Iker Nusach. The Amr Shemeshan Teishtovacham Lo Yatza Ella Kishmeshan Psichasan B'Chisimnasan. The Klal Gadol that anyone is Meshanim and Matbeya Shetavach Chacham is not Yoitza is only in the Psich and the Chasima. Shara Nusach Ein Ima'akev Al Ateve Shapir to Cham Shemakev. Only specific words that Cham said are important. In Elu Shemanu, for example, Tzis Mitzrayim, Malchus, Krias Yamsuf, we said before Makkes B'Chodesh. You don't mention those words, but yeah, then that's a problem. But the rest of the whole Nusach, and he gives another example from benching in the parentheses, going Bris V'Toira Malchus V'Chsamazin. In V'Chsamazin, in the second bracha, we mention Bris Chasham T'V'Sereinu, V'Atirascha Shil Malatanu. And then we mention Malchus in the third bracha, Malchus Pistav Meshichecha. Those mentionings are very important. If you don't mention it, you're not Yoitza. But the rest that Chacham did not say specifically, it's not, you're still Yoitza. The Kisham and Mitzvil, like Chazal said, we have to mention rain in davening. You don't ask for rain, you have to go back. You didn't say the same Talmud.
Well, what's the story with the Chazan over there? Emet v'yatzim, you wait for the Chazan, you don't have to wait for him. What's the story there?
We wait. We try to wait. Yeah.
And if he's saying you do you have to repeat?
No. You're
So
Yoitza with him.
Okay, so if he's saying you're saying only once.
Yeah.
Fine,
You
fine.
could do it by yourself, but you're allowed to
There
be.
is you know what I'm saying? There is an Indian for that.
You don't have to. No.
You know, so usually I'm doing my
No, not only that.
and that's it.
Not only that. No, you could listen to Chazan. Better to listen to the Chazan.
Why? You could say in the Siddur.
you're adding extra 3 what? For no reason.
מה?
You're adding 3 extra
לא, אני
what?
אומר פעמיים ילד. אני אומר פעמיים כל הזמן.
You know what? I don't know. You could. Shulchan Aruch says that someone who wants to, he could do it. I can't say.
It's better to say it together with the chazan.
Shulchan Aruch says you're allowed to.
Exactly.
You're allowed to when you say it by yourself.
With the chazan. With the chazan. Shulchan Aruch says that you're allowed to, if you want to say napi yotzim in the chazan, you could do it. But if you want to, if you're a yachid by yourself, then you have to be yotzim with the vavs of the emes v'yatziv. But Lamais in the Siddur, the Alter Rebbe went back on that point, and he says that you could do it. Just say Ani Hashem Elokeichem twice, not Hashem
You might say we
Elokeichem.
don't do it. You might say we're waiting for the chazan.
Yeah, but he says you could. He says someone who wants to ain't meichem biyadei if he wants to.
Paradim say emet in the end. Hazan say
Together.
say emet.
And also when they say quietly by himself.
That's
You know,
it,
come on, man.
See if you'd gimel. Im aim penai laadam espala ba'inus kish melissa gulat tefillah.
אז רגע, אתה אומר שהם לוקחים אמת פעמיים.
פעם אחת. החזן אומר את זה.
What do we say? I do as I say Hashem Elokeichem emes,
Okay.
and I listen to the chazan.
And let's say...
And then when
But-
you start Lamuna,
Yeah, so
you don't say emes a second time.
right? This time that's what you do also, no?
I say Hashem לוקחים אמת, Hashem לוקחים אמת. I said twice.
You could do it. Oh, no,
No,
you could do it, yeah.
You have to say emet the emuna together.
No, you could wait.
You can wait.
Hashem
Yeah.
לוקחים אמת
People
פעם.
say emet the emuna.
בגלל שאתה ספרדי?
מה?
בגלל שאתה ספרדי?
לא יודע, ככה אני רגיל. ככה אני רגיל. לא יודע למה אפילו. ככה אני רגיל, לא יודע אפילו...
Im ein Adam Yud Gimel ein Pnai Adam Lispala Ba'oines Kish Melissa Gulat Tefillah. Right now you see, because man Krias is coming. You don't have time to start saying the brachas and to say it properly. And to do Smichas Gulat Tefillah to Ishgal Yisrael. Bekitza, you don't have time to go down in a regular shachris. Yikre Kriyishma by Nasa Beloy Berchasa. V'achakach yikrena beberchisa v'yisvu kol tefillah.
You say it twice.
V'yesh oimim sheyachol gam ken loimer bracha shel fanel u'l'shayer birchas emes v'yatziv v'yachakach listen kol tefillah. What's he saying here?
That even the first time around, you have enough.
I'm not sure what he's saying.
What's the story here exactly?
That's what we have to figure out. It's a good question.
אתה מבין שאומרים?
You can clinch yourself. Wouldn't you?
Um,
He has no time to say Birchus Kriyat Shema Shema and Geulah Summer Geulah Tefillah. What he should do? Shema and Geulah Tefillah, or the first bracha and then Shema and then Geulah Tefillah. Like he doesn't have time for both of them.
כן, אני מבין, אבל...
So the first one says Shema, and after he go back to the Birkat Shema Shema and that's it.
אתה מדבר מבחינת הזמן? אתה מדבר מבחינת הזמן?
מבחינת הזמן, yeah.
מבחינת תפוס מניין.
מבחינת הזמן.
או לתפוס מניין.
לא, הזמן.
I'm not sure what this means. Yesh.
I think is it to catch minion or the time?
Is this a man?
In Yud Gimel, he says,
Is this before you
it's-
start down?
huh?
If you just want
What's
to
this
say Kriyas
about?
Shema,
I'm trying to figure it out.
you're not in the middle of davening.
No, it's not in the morning. It's morning time, and it's
Bichlal,
Shema, it's about
Kriyishma,
to
Min HaTorah, is Min HaTorah. You're supposed to say it with brachas.
Exactly.
But what happens if you see Azman
Time.
over?
What is more important is the tefillah on time. כאילו, תשמע, יש מצווה מהתורה.
Right?
you have an
It's more
extra-
But you have to skip out the brachas and go straight to
If you
Kriyishma.
have an extra
You know,
minute
there's
to reset,
tefillah time.
Yeah.
So what I have to do now is the gilul tefillah.
And now he's saying,
Yeah,
because at the second bracha of Kriyishma, the last bracha, the second bracha, after you say Kriyishma, you say another bracha, Gal Yisrael.
the last one, okay.
And that's Smichas Gula Tefillah.
Okay.
You don't have any time right now. So you're going to skip out the brachas. When you skip out the brachas, you're not only skipping out the brachas, you're also not being Somer Gula Tefillah.
You want to say Shema?
Says Alter Rebbe, you read Kriyishma now.
Okay.
You can do it again.
when you're down-
Say now that you're going to say Kriyishma again with the brachas and be Somer Gula Tefillah. Yes, the real Smichas Gula Tefillah is when it's Kriyishma in HaTorah with it. But even that, you're still allowed to say the brachas, even though you're already yotzim in the Torah. And you're allowed to be Somek Gulul Tefillah.
Yeah, but what he's talking that you're going to miss the time of Geula of Shmona. What was the story?
No,
exactly.
no, Krias Shema. Oynes Krias Shema.
Which time you going to miss?
Look, im ein Pnai Laden v'spala ba'onat Krias Shema. Question over here is, what did he mean over here? What's the Yeshayim?
If he doesn't have time, why should he say the bracha lefaneh? He's going to miss. He's going to miss.
Right, so he
Shema
skipped it. So he says you could skip it. That's before the Yeshayim.
Yeshayim says no. Do say the bracha lefaneh and then Shema, and don't say Geula Tefillah.
What does he gain with that? I mean,
So then
he has no time right now. He has no time.
No, so let's say he has an
He has no
extra
time.
minute or two. He doesn't have time to start from the beginning of davening. That's what he's.
No, not the beginning. No.
He's not going back to the beginning. He's going
No,
straight to
Yes,
Krias
and
Shema.
Yachal can learn Birchas Shalofa now when he's saying it when he's rushing, when he has very little time. What does L'Shire mean?
To leave over.
Leave it later. Don't say now Shemona Esrei.
MSB,
Go back to
right.
the beginning of davening and do it again.
Mhm.
And do it again. Do the Birkas Shmiyat.
Seems like this. Seems like this. Mhm.
The best is to say Shema and Asema Geula Tefillah. That's the best. But
So
you don't have time.
Right.
So which one you should do?
Looks like this. Looks like this.
You could say twice the
Seems from here there's something interesting. When we say that there's to read Krias Shema Bizmano, Midrabanan, it also includes the brachas that we should read the brachas in that Zman too.
Before.
Yeah. Means even though, let's say it's 9:30 is Man Krias Shema.
Yes.
What time is it? When's it?
Now it's 9:41. See,
9:40.
Whatever.
So 9:40 is Man Krias Shema.
Yes, that's.
You see that you could read Krias Shema before the Zman, but after 9:40, by Smichas Gula Tefillah, it's going to be after the Zman. Smichas Gula Tefillah is going to be after the Zman.
But it's not at the same time anyway. It's not the same time.
Seems like there is an inyan that the Smichas Gula Tefillah should be also in the same Zman as the Zman Krias Shema.
Really?
And that's what he's saying, that you're allowed, in the second sheet is saying, that if you're out of time and you want to get Smichas Gula Tefillah in the time of Krias Shema, you can skip out the bracha Emes V'Yatziv
And the bracha before. I'm not saying the bracha before. So they don't understand that.
And go to where?
Oh, maybe he's
Shir
saying like
Hashem.
this. No. I'm sorry. Let me change like this. L'chora, what he's saying is like this. It seems from this sif that there's an inyan that the smichas gulat, that the bracha should also be in the zman occasion.
Okay.
Okay? And now,
The bracha before.
let's stop. Let's stop again. We'll go without another shot.
Oh,
We're working it out. Another shot. When a person sees he doesn't have zman krish is coming. So he says the brachas are not ma'akiv. Don't say the brachas now.
Say Shema.
Say Shema. Then afterwards say Shema again with the say brachas with Shema again. Now, the first time that you're saying it, right? Let's say you have time to say the brachas before.
From here to where I should know.
You have, right?
By myself out.
Yeah. So, can you do that and leave over?
And jump to Somach Gila. Jump to Gal Israel.
No.
No, leave it over for later.
Just for later when you.
Okay, so you're saying
When you'll have time later.
for the bracha for
Could you
before.
split? Bekitzer, could you split? Could you split the brachas?
Which one? The four brachos.
But could I say before with Kriyash, the brachas before with Kriyash now?
Yeah.
Then later I'll say the rest and same in Kol Tefillah.
So you mean you're going to finish Shema? You're going to say Gal Israel?
No, that's
No.
because that has to be Gosaynech Gula
Exactly. So which one you jumping?
Look, V'yei
Jumping
Shoymim.
is when you daven later, the whole thing, then you say it. That's what it means, jumping. But the second time around, when you do the whole davening, do you do the bracha shel?
But yes, the second Yeshua, my understanding is you're going to jump to God Israel.
L'chora, no. L'chora, he's saying that you're allowed to separate it. And the first time, you'll say the bracha shlofanel, and you leave over the rest, and the rest you could separate it. This she knows you could separate it.
This is the second Yeshua, I understand. After you're saying Shema, you can jump to God Israel right away.
So what happens the second?
No.
So
he's going to skip that also. Skip all the brachas afterwards.
after exactly, this is the second Yeshua. You finish Shema, jump to God Israel. Skip everything.
Wait, the
This
second
is the
time
second
around, do you say
Yeshua.
Shema?
What is the first Yeshua?
The second time around in Tefillah, do you say Shema then, according to Yeshua?
Yeah, say Shema.
But you skip the bracha shel lefaneha?
Yeah.
So you
And
skip-
then
and then you say Ezer Sabbaseinu.
Hmm.
I guess if you didn't say that, you might as well say, all that part, the after part, until God Yisrael. You would say it the second time if you didn't say it the first time. L'chayr.
Yeah.
I would say this. I would say the last part is more important than the first one. And maybe I'd see after Shema is more important. Skip the first, go to the second.
Not according to the second.
No, because they המשך אחד.
But V'yeshomrim, he says no, the opposite.
כן, זה מה שלא
Because they want to be so l'tefillah, and here you're not doing
You need to
Shema.
see the Rambam.
You're not yet-
You need to see the Rambam.
You're not having tefillah, you're not doing, let's say, the whole thing.
No, but the second one more important
You probably
because
haven't told
it's
me.
one המשך, but you cannot jump from this to this. I don't know.
But you're not doing Shemona Esrei, that's why.
No, you do Shmona Esrei, but the
Also,
issue
you
is
should do?
yeah, for sure. The issue is which one is coming, the bracha before Shema or the bracha
No, I'm
after
saying the
Shema?
first time around you do Shemona Esrei, but what if you weren't down, you weren't holding here down, you didn't start.
No, I
start
can't
yet.
forget about it. First of all, you're saying Shema, say it on time. Let's see how that you have a psuk Zimra. Say Shema on time, no problem. Then do whatever you want after that.
Mhm.
But he's talking already in the middle of the movie now. You're in the middle of the movie already. The end of the movie almost.
Never gonna start.
Sifiyot.
My father would tell me is, if there was like 2 minutes to finish Shema, 3 minutes, you'd say, okay, say from, if you did, because you can't, don't have time to say the whole bracha, say, I'll be very sorry, the higher of no, this, and then take the Shema.
Yeah, this is true.
Hmm.
Get off Facebook.
You got a joke from yesterday.
Mhm.
You got the joke from yesterday. No.
Mashma for me is the Shmona Esrei, you should do it after the time, no problem. But Shema, do it on time. This is the way I understand that. Shema, do it on time. Shmona Esrei, even if it's not on time, whatever, do it whatever you want.
Let's see, you're right, that's it.
The way I see it, he's talking about the nets.
Listen,
I think he's talking about the nets.
the Ramah, it's a Ramah, right? It's a Ramah. The whole thing is a Ramah. The Ramah writes a Hagah on the Mechaber in Siman Samachov Sif Yud. And it's not so clear. It starts earlier.
Yes,
So basically, it seems from the Ramah itself, when you read the Ramah, it seems like this. Mishu anos v'dachuk. Ve'ein lo pnai lehispalel miyad acher Kriyas Shema. It's not pshat only that it's Zman Kriyas Shema now, and he needs to read Shema. He also does not have the time to daven afterwards. He has to take care of something. So he can't right now do a Kriyas Shema with everything with it.
Okay.
Okay? He's Mishu Onus V'Dachok Ve'ein Le Pnai L'Spalo to do Shemana Esrei after Kriyas Shema.
You say
can't do
before
Shema
the
Esrei.
Zman or the whole day today?
Right now, not necessarily even right after the Zman. Let's say he says Kriyas Shema and then the Zman is over. He doesn't have any time right now to go to that.
Hours after that. Okay. Well,
He can't. He
Okay,
has an
right,
appointment.
okay.
Something's going on.
Right.
It's an emergency, and he's gonna daven later on. He's gonna go to shul. He's gonna get a later minyan. So he's right now. He has no time. We do these things all the time, but we're now going back to the shirish, right? So your dachuk ein leipnal l'spal me'adach Kriyas Shema. So what should you do? Yikra Kriyas Shema ad emes. From Shema to emes. V'yamtin loimer shara brachas. How do you spell
Yeah.
it? Yamtin loimer dar habrachas.
After.
How do you spell it?
After.
What happened to the first bracha?
You know what I'm saying? What about this?
What happened to the first
bothering
bracha?
me?
This is the Rama. Sha'oz, then when you have time,
Well, Shar could mean
wait,
the before too, brachas.
what's shar? He seems like there was a bracha that you did, and the rest of the brachas,
Yeah.
leave over Haji
Well,
say,
not-
Yam Teloim have brachas at you spell.
Oh, okay.
What does he say? Sha'oz yoimer v'yatziv v'nochin. When you'll have time, you'll say v'yatziv v'nochin. You say that. V'yispalo you'll daven. Why should he daven right away after v'yatziv v'nochin? Kadeshi yisma gulat tefillah. Gal Yisrael right next to tefillah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's much
So
more-
now-
he said already the first one. Much more than he said the first one. He said
Said
that
the first
but
one.
he had no
The
time.
bracha-
But he said he had no time. He didn't say it.
Right, did he say the
But
an hour or not?
And also you have to repeat them again, or you have to say them. Much more he said the first.
The bracha shalom for now.
He can't, but he cannot say Shema. Say Shema and stop. That's it. And after, do whatever you want. Mashma, he said the first one. Must be he said the first one. If not, we'll tell him to start all over from
But
everything.
according to the Gimel, Yikra Shema Nasa B'Loi Bircheseha. Bircheseha meaning any of the brachas.
No,
Beginning
Mashma,
and
the
end.
first one he said already. Mashma, he said the first one.
No,
Okay, now, no way he didn't say the first one.
look in the Gimel.
Yeah, I saw it, but because if not, he will tell him go back to the beginning.
Don't
Don't start from. Must be he said the first
basically
one.
how the Alter Rebbe understands it. There is a Magen Avraham over here. This whole thing is this few lines in the Ramah, and the Magen Avraham writes on the Ramah Tzarech Iyun. What's his Tzarech Iyun? V'chimi hitterloi lifsek. Who was matter to the Ramah? Paskin that mipnei she'ein loi pnai. This thing, I think the word lifsek, it doesn't mean paskin. Me hitterloi lifsek to separate. Because when you read the reading of the Ramah, it seems like you were saying that you're saying the brachas rishonis,
Must be.
and you're leaving over.
Yeah, then
When I have time,
Yeah.
you'll say emes v'yatziv and Gal Yisrael and Yisrael Tefillah. In fact, that Magen Avraham Tzarech Iyun v'chimi hitlei lifsek peishem atay. Just because you don't have time doesn't mean that you're allowed to cut the brachas and say I could do brachas rishonis and then brachas achronis later. You don't have time. Don't do it. What should you do? Over emes, mashman the sefer ekeach, says the Magen Avraham, not like the Ramah. The mi she'ein leipnai, yika kriya shma levada, beloy brachas. Read just shma till emes without the brachas. Don't split the brachas.
Yeah.
The achakak, yishiyir leipnai, yikra ha brachas im kriya shem yizbal.
This.
V'chein hu bi Yishalmi. It brings a raya from Yishalmi. Shehevi raya misham shekara Kriya Shema shenis achar kimol shay. Someone who read Kriya Shema a second time after the 3 hours, after Zman Kriya Shema.
Okay.
V'chein hu le'il and seis menvav b'seisef v'divrei harama tzarechim. Now let's go back to the Alter Rebbe. You sometimes have to go back to understand, Now, the Alter Rebbe starts off with the Magen Avraham and he finishes off with the Rambam.
Ah.
Im ein pnai la'adam mispala ba'inus kishus l'kula tefillah. What should he do? Like the Magen Avraham explains. Yikir kisha ba'inasa v'loi brechaseh.
No bracha at all.
No brachas at all.
Okay.
Just
Okay,
read
yeah.
Misham like the Magen Avraham said it. You're not allowed to be mafsik.
No beginning and no.
V'achakach, when you have time, you can add the brechaseh v'yisur gula tefillah. And by the way, if you look in Kuf Nun Dalid on the bottom,
I saw it, but
Magen Avraham, Mem Aleph, Magen Avraham, which by the way, the ones in italics were the ones in the original print of the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. The ones later print publishers added in. It wasn't italics, were the original ones. So the Alter Rebbe, this is the source in the italics in Kuf Nun Dalid, right in the beginning. You see it says Mem Aleph.
Is that italicized or you need bold or
Bold or italics. I don't know what
italics is on an angle. Is it not on an angle?
So
It's in the bottom.
what is it called?
It's in the bottom.
When
I don't know. This looks different. I don't know what it's called.
the font, the mem aleph from the Samach.
Font is different.
Right. So regular font versus bold font. Bold meaning more.
Which one's
Heavy.
bold? The Mem Aleph or
No. The Samach Kuf is
It's the bold.
Bold.
I don't know.
Right.
What's
Bold means heavy font.
I guess so. Yeah. So the first font, that font is from the original print. That's the Magen Avraham Shita. But you're not allowed to split the brachas. How do you have such a thing? You split the brachas. It's a big shaila. Tzarechim. The next thing, the Yeshayimrim, Shiyachol Gam King Leir Bracha Shulchan. No. If you don't have time, but you could say,
No, it's doing like the Raman now. This is the
yeah,
first-
now's the Ramah. If you want, you could say the brachas before Krias Shema. Yeah, say Yoytze Oyer V'Richoshech. Beich V'Amisl B'Yava. Reach Shema till Emes. Stop. Later on, when you'll have time to daven, you'll say Emes V'Yatziv and Gal Yisrael. L'Shayir, leave over Birchas Emes V'Yatziv for later on the day. And afterwards, then you'll be saying a Gula Tefillah. So he says, who is this Shita? Look in Dalid, on the bottom, he has a Puntas Achen. Yesh Lokam Lemer Ramah. V'chein Mashma Miloshen Rekeach Shabisayis. Now already there's an argument here. The Magen Avraham said that from the Rekeach, it seems not like the Ramah. Says the Alter Rebbe, the way the Rekeach is brought in the Bisayis, if he quotes him, it doesn't seem like, and he goes for a kert. The Kavanas HaMagen Avraham Sarachiyun. I don't know exactly. We have to go in to see with the whole thing. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. So he turns the table over, the Alter Rebbe, and says that the Magen Avraham is Sarachiyun. So therefore, the Alter Rebbe he brought back the Ramah as being a chashuv opinion. He's not putting the Ramah away. If we go with the Magen Avraham, the Magen Avraham is finished. The Ramah is Sarachiyun. He doesn't want to pass like the Ramah. Very sharp. But the Alter Rebbe starts to defend the Ramah and brings it back as a Yeshayim.
That's a very strong
What
Russian.
was that?
Yeah, very strong.
Very strong.
Very strong. You're not common. Not such a common Lashon for Magen Avraham and the Ramah.
בדרך כלל אל תראה פוסק לפי המגן אברהם, לא לפי הרמה.
כן, נכון.
אז למה-
This is זה דבר חריג.
כן.
זה חריג. Yeah.
מאוד מוזר שהוא חושב.
ויש אומרים.
לא, אבל הוא בסוף פוסק ברמה. איפה כתוב? כן, הוא אומר, המגן אברהם צריך עיון.
But he didn't take away the Magen Avraham. He kept it here,
But he says,
and he brought him first.
yeah, but he didn't say הרמה צריך עיון, he said מגן אברהם צריך עיון.
Yeah, in the bottom.
This is strange.
Yeah. Listen, that's where you see that a Poisik, he doesn't always go. He has sometimes he's chaylik. If it doesn't make sense to him, he has to say his das. He can't say, I don't understand and I'm going to mask him. No. He has to pass him with his svara. If it doesn't make sense to him, it doesn't make sense to him.
So basically, he's going with the Ramashi.
The halacha he brought both.
So the halacha.
What do you do with halacha
Never
l'maisa?
mind, never mind.
He didn't always be machriya. Right?
What we do, Lamaisa, we say Shema.
L'maisa, the oilam is noig, not like the Ramah.
Lamaisa, we do Shema.
When do you ever see someone splitting it? No one splits it.
Lamaisa, you see the time is late. You just Shema.
Okay.
Then you go back to the Zimmer. Then when I go to Shema, you go back to the.
No, but not even right away. Here we're saying maybe an hour later he's going to go.
Fine, but that's what we do.
No one's splitting it. People are doing like the Magen Avraham. L'maisa minhag kamar Magen Avraham. Yeah. Very strange. You would see someone doing it, you would find it very strange to see someone splitting the brachot. He reads half the brachot now. An hour later, let me now say Shema and do over the brach. No, we don't. Bishalaza, right here, and you could say Kuntasachen. He's a London. He has a.
ממתי תראה בעצם הפסיק לפסוק כמו המגן אברהם?
תלוי במה.
אני יודע שבהתחלה
when he got older, the Alter Rebbe, he said that his family said that he has charata, that he was soymech so much on the Achreinim, especially the Magen Avraham. That the Magen Avraham was the one from all the Achreinim that he took on the most. He most held of the Magen Avraham. He protected the Magen Avraham very much.
Yeah.
When there were kashas and Achreinim on the Magen Avraham, he defended him a lot. And later on it says that B'Seif Yamav he felt that Kishahoisiv Chachma Chachmasei, he felt that he could be chaylik with the Magen Avraham. Until then, he didn't want to be chaylik with the Magen Avraham.
I had the Alter Rebbe had Malbua Tanina. Second Malbua Tanina I had, no?
He started to write. We only have very little from it, yeah.
We don't have...
The Tzemach Tzedek says, Taka somewhere, when he himself was a big guy and he sometimes argues with the Alter Rebbe, with Zayda. But, sometimes he's very much into what Zayda said, but a lot of times he disagrees. And halacha is halacha. He disagrees with the Zayda. But Tzemach Tzedek one time said somewhere, I remember, that even though the Magen Avraham wrote this, passing this way, the Alter Rebbe doesn't say anything in that discussion. He mentions the Magen Avraham. However, I heard from him that in the ending of Seif Yamav he was Chazabai. So therefore, even though usually he always on the Magen Avraham, I feel more comfortable to argue here with the Magen Avraham because what the Alter Rebbe said. But he had a lot of other rayas to say it. It wasn't just him against the Magen Avraham. He had a lot of different achreinim. He was saying, the Alter Rebbe always followed the Magen Avraham, but the Seif Yamav, so therefore in this case, I'm comfortable in that. For a regular person to come and say, this is based on the Magen Avraham, the Alter Rebbe was Chazabai, you can't. You can't.
How many generations between the Magen Avraham?
Many poskim changed their psak. That's okay in halacha. You're allowed to change psak. The Rambam, he wrote his Pirush HaMishnayis on the
Mishnayis.
Shnayis, when he wrote the first art school, right? In Arabic. He wrote in Arabic. Most of the Rambam Svarim were Arabic. And so he wrote in Arabic a commentary on the Mishnah. And he wrote in Arabic his tshuvas. His tshuvas, when he wrote to people, wrote him questions. It's like a posek answering in English today. He responded in Arabic. The tshuvas we have are translated from Arabic back.
But the Lashon then, okay.
He wrote his Sefer HaMitzvahs to explain all the mitzvahs, clear explanation, Arabic. Only Sefer that he wrote, Lashon Kodesh, is the big Sefer, Mishnah Torah. That he wrote Lashon Kodesh. Everything else is translations. Anyways, the Rambam changed many times psakim that he wrote in his Pirush Mishnayis, how he explained the halacha, and he said halacha k'mayr of Yehuda in the Mishnah when he was explaining. Then it came later on in Mishnah Torah, he didn't pass in that way, and the Achrayim, the Noisik Klei Rambam explained that he was Chayzabai. Later on, again, he changed it later on in life, and he passed him differently. By the way, the Rambam had a connection with the Yemenite Jews.
Yeah.
The Teimanim accepted the Rambam as like the final word. Yeah,
Like
he was
Gemara.
very connected with them, even though he wasn't there. He never, I don't know if he ever went there before.
They're a Talmud.
But
Yeah, he said
So-
the line. He said the line.
so he sent his Irushim. They were constantly in touch with him, and he wrote to them. They asked him questions. You write this in Mishnah Torah. How does it fit with the Gemara? They would ask him questions, and the Rambam wrote back sometimes that you have to make certain tikkunim in my sefer. He sent them the updated versions, like this over here, make this change. Over here, make this change. When the Teimanim came out from Yemen, by then the Rambam was like, for us, the Shulchan Aruch.
Yeah.
Rambam was the last word. The Rambam was like their Shulchan Aruch. They want to know what to do. They open up the Rambam. We know. We open up the Shulchan Aruch. He opened the Rambam, and they opened the Rambam. So they brought out with them the Rambam, which had more meduyak. Their Mishnah Torah more meduyak. The question now comes: the Yosef didn't he relied on the version that we had, but the Teimanim came out with a more precise updated Mishnah Torah. And now now what do we do? Sometimes he relies on something and he says that because the Rambam passed him, but now we see that the Rambam didn't hold that way. So this became sometimes when new manuscripts come out, Kisviyad starts to become a question. How do we? So we don't so easily just say the Shulchan Aruch is incorrect. We look to see what the story is and what the case at hand is to work out the situation to see would the Beis Yosef really have changed the pshat, because he also like understood api seichel and api svara. He was mitzad like a certain svara. Maybe he wouldn't have changed his mind because there were other rishonim differently. So you have to know only when it's clear that Amar writes in Chesed Mishpat Simon Chaf Hey, that it has to be clear that if the Achronim would have seen that Rishon, that they would have been chayzer by. Then, if we know you have a shmir buhu, have a hadr buhu, the halacha changes. We know that the Achronim would have known that the Rambam says this, or the Ramban said this, and they didn't. We're not aware of it, but now it came to light, and we are definitely sure that they would have changed their mind. The halacha changes. The halacha changes.
Instead of be stuck to them again.
And we find something interesting in Hilchos Nida. There's a whole discussion there in a certain, a very complicated section in the calendar and the Vestas. And the Alter Rebbe explains all the different opinions, but then he writes something very interesting. He writes, however, in the days of all these Achronim, which are the Balei HaShulchan Aruch, the Taz, the Shach, the Bach, the Ramah, they didn't see the Hilchos Nida of the Ramban. They didn't see it inside. They saw it being quoted in the Torah. The Torah quoted it, but they didn't have the full version.
He had it.
Now, in his generation, it was a little before already by the Yonis and Eibschitz. This thing that the Rebbe writes already, Yonis and Eibschitz points out. But the Alter Rebbe makes a change in halacha. So Yonis and Eibschitz in his crazy place, he points out that now, in our Doyer, came out the Ksav Yad of the Hilchos Nida. I don't think it was the Ramban necessarily Ksav Yad Kodesh, but it was the whole entire Ksav Yad, the full manuscript where we could see before and after, and not just a piece that the Torah quoted. The Torah quoted a certain piece. Now that so that they have a whole discussion, what did the Torah mean? Big machlekes. What did the Torah, the Shulchan Aruch, the Ramah also quotes this Torah, and it's all back to the Chassid Ramban. And they're all trying to understand it. And they have a whole massive machlekes and what the meaning behind these words are. But now they have the full Ksav Yad. We know what he meant. And you know what he meant? Not like any of them wrote. That's what the Alter Rebbe says.
Oh, really? This is what he's saying clearly?
He says clearly. Now that we have it, and Chabad, they're following this.
Yeah.
By the way, in the Welt they don't. Outside of Chabad they don't, but the Chabad, the Alter Rebbe said that now that we have, in that case, the Alter Rebbe felt that they are all relying on the Ramban. They all want to pass him like the Ramban. And the Ramban, he is the source of these halachas. And we're just trying to figure out what he meant. If we knew what he meant, and it would be clear, there wouldn't be all these questions. They had a lot of questions because it wasn't clear what he meant. But now we know what he meant. So now the halacha changes. So that you have to be a gadol, a big poisik to come and say that. Not every person come and say, I found something somewhere. Okay, I have my own Shulchan Aruch now. No, we have to know clearly that the Achronim would have changed, and we felt that they're relying totally on the words of that Chacham. We're just trying to understand his words. Now we understand clearly what he really meant to say, that all the issues they had, the problems went away, and they obviously would have followed that and it would have been clear.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
Magen Avraham was Sfaradi or Ashkenazi? Well, I don't know.
With Ashkenazi.
Ashkenazi,
Okay.
no.
Number 2.
I have a guy in my koilel who's Ben Acher Ben.
Wow.
Which is like-
Second question.
Which is
By the way, we have a Chashav who comes to Shiurim often. He's not here tonight, but he's a Ben Acher Ben from the Bach.
from the
The Bach's name was a Bioil Circus. Sits over here in Mendes Circus.
Oh, vendor.
He's a Ben Acher Ben from the Bach.
I don't know.
So you really do.
Well, that's what he says. His name is Circus, Mendes Circus, and he says Ben Acher Ben from the Bach.
And how many generations between?
There's a lot of generations back to the Bach.
It's related to the Taz also. If he's a block from the Bach, it's related to the Taz.
I don't know. Maybe did he have other children?
The brother-in-law.
No, the Taz was the
Son-in-law.
Son-in-law.
But did he have other children? Well, if
I
that's
wasn't there. I don't know. But
no,
I
he's not related to the Taz because his name is Circus. He came from a son of the Bach.
Okay.
And Taz was a Segel.
Second.
David Segel was an Aiden. What are you?
How many generations between Alter Rebbe
Magen Avraham?
and Magen Avraham? Because you always
Not so long.
not so many.
Maybe 75 years. I have to look it up. Not
So one generation before.
But why?
like now till the war. From before the war.
Yeah, that's all. But why?
Something like this.
Why went this out?
Let me ask you something. We know that in Europe
Yeah.
before the war they learned Torah in a much. There was this concept that it was Yeridat Hadarot. When all the explosions, the pogroms, the Torah got lost. Every time Torah kept on getting lost. There was this feeling that they saw that their Rebbes knew better than them. They realized how much Torah they knew. So the Rebbe saw the Magen Avraham Sefer. He saw it very big oimik. He wasn't the only one, by the way. There's a Sefer on the Shulchan Aruch, Machzit HaShekel. He's like an art scroll. He's from the same time as Alter Rebbe, maybe a little before. And he published a Sefer just to explain the Magen Avraham, not the Taz, just to explain the Magen Avraham. The Magen Avraham is more difficult to understand, but the Magen Avraham was considered a very chashuv. So, from all the poskim, but at that later on, Alter Rebbe felt he could argue with more comfortable to argue with Achronim. The Gra argued with Achronim. On the Shulchan Aruch, the Biagra argued with Achronim. He learned the way he felt with Shad. Based on the Gemara and Yishanim, he didn't mind disagreeing with them. The Alter Rebbe didn't do that his whole life. So if Yamav, he said that we have the Einukul here.
If let's
We're discussing you.
What was the Magen Abraham's last name?
I think Gambiner, Avram Gambiner.
if a poisik let's say Aleph, later in Yom we poisik Beis,
Yeah.
is it still wrong to
Thank
do
you for
like that?
joining us.